Well, today I'm going to be rush seating this lovely ladder back chair, and it's one I made about 35 years ago. I'm going to do the seat with natural river rush. When I originally made the chair, I used seagrass, which is a bit of a sort of compromise really, and over the years it's become very saggy and got a sort of like a hole in the middle now. So it's time to give this chair a nice proper natural river rush. First off, I'm going to soak the rush, and this is to make it more pliable. So I've laid it out on quite a nice large tarpaulin, and what I'll do is I'll soak it. This will make it so pliable for use. You don't want to do too much at one go, because sometimes it can go a bit off, and it's a matter of sort of watering it enough to get it nicely pliable. Some people soak it in a bath. I just tend to do it in this, it seems to work. So I'll do this, I'm probably rushing it a bit, but I'll aim to be working on this afternoon. Soaking this morning, and then I can be using it this afternoon. Well, the first job is to cut the seat off, so I'm going to simply use a knife. And it's a bit destructive, but it's a quick way of removing the seat. So that's the seat cut away, and I now have a nice little mess of old seagrass to tidy up. Well, having got all the seagrass out, what I need to do first of all is mark out the squareness of this chair, because it's wider at the front than it is at the back. And what I've done to do that, I take a tri-square and a bit of wood, and I just line it up at the back, work out where I'm roughly square. It's a little bit of a guesstimate, and then I just mark it with some pencil. So I've done that each side. So like that, I know that the chair will be square once I've filled in this gap down here. So that's the area that I want to fill in first of all with rush. So I'm going to put some rush along here, along the front and down the other side to get a square starting point. Once you've got it square, it's quite easy. You can carry on going round until you get to the middle. You want to get rid of the air in the rush. Now some people pop it through a mangle. I tend to just whiz my fingers along it. Just like that. And you can sort of see it going flatter, and you can hear the water hissing out of it all. Like that. Now I've got a butt end, that's the bit that's down in towards the ground. I've got a tip where the flower is, and I take one of each, and then I start twisting them together. Now the reason I do that is if you take a tip and a butt and twist them together, you'll end up with a fairly consistent thickness of rush. If I had two butt ends, then it would obviously be quite bulky at one end, and then it would get very thin at the other end. Well, I want this to be consistent for filling in on the chair, so I take a butt with a tip. I'm going to put a bit of string around them, tie them to the side of the chair frame, and then bring them up over the top of the first stretcher rail at the front. Now I'm giving a little twist here, and I need to get this the right way. You need to twist away from the corner. So I'm sort of twisting the rush. It's a bit long at this point, so it's a bit fiddly. I'm twisting it away nice and evenly. So at the moment when I'm at the front, in effect I'm twisting it in like a clockwise direction, trying to get a nice even twist on the rush. And then what I do is I go down to the back, bring it up through the centre, and then over the side and coming down this way. And then back. A little bit more twisting. And then over through the other side. Try and keep your rush consistent. Don't have to twist it on this long stretch. I then come over to the other side and I'm coming through on the top with the other side. Do some more twisting. So again, I'm twisting away from the corner I'm at, so I'm actually again twisting it in like a clockwise direction, trying to get the air out. So just rubbing it along with my fingers. Get a nice even twist. It's not a tight twist, but it's an even one which gets the rush like a bit of cordage, like a bit of string. And then I go under, back up through the centre and out over the front. And then back under and bring it along the side. And I'm going to trim that and then tie it. So again, a bit of string wrapped around it and then around your frame and just tied. And that's the first piece, the first filler piece. So that's where I started and tied a knot. I then, as I say, came over this front rail, went underneath and then back over there, along the front, and then over the top of the side rail, okay, back underneath it, and then over the top and back down there. Tom likes the smell of the rush. I'm just trying to force the rush nice and compactly in, so nice square shoulders there. I'm just using the little stick to try and get it in a bit. I'm now going round the chair, so filling in the sort of centre hole, and I'll show you how I join the rush. So what I try and do, I'll cut this one just there. I try and make it so that I join in the sort of middle areas. It just makes it a bit tidier. And I take a rush, I've got a thin end, so I'm going to attach a fat end to even them off. I tend to cut off the muddier bottom bit, and then I fold it over. And the idea of the folding, some people tie a knot. I don't find that's necessary. So I just literally fold it over like that, and then I trap it by folding it back on itself. And that is enough to hold it. So literally folded over and then trapped. And you'd think that would come loose, but it doesn't. It actually keeps there very well indeed. I about probably 5-6 years ago popped up a couple of films on rush seating. I did one on a basic Victorian sort of parlour type chair, and I did another one on doing the Sussex chair, my Sussex chair series, when I was making the Sussex chair. So if you want to have a sort of look at some more close-ups, you'll see them on there as well. There you are. So I have a fat and a thin. I just tuck those down. I can stuff them into the seat later. Whoops, going to come undone now. And I said all that, and then I can carry on. So there it is. Fold it over on itself, bring it back on itself, and you can pull on that, and actually it does feel quite tight. I just had it out of alignment just now. So again, twisting away from the corner you're at, and I'll carry on going round. And you just keep adding a rush. So this is quite sort of easy bit really. You just keep adding a rush every now and again as needed. always twisting away from the corner, always making sure that you have a thin rush connected to a fat rush to try and get your work as even as you can. And it's the same weave pattern as before, so I come round, come over, I will add another rush as soon as I'm through here, as that's getting thin. So again, twisting away. Sorry, it gets quite difficult to do this with the camera there, but hopefully you can see what I'm doing. I normally find it's best to have the corner facing me, but I want to make space for the camera. So there you are, that comes down and over like that. So I'll join another rush onto this one. I've left that a bit late. So again, just pull out another rush. They've been soaking, so they're nice and damp still. Take the air out with my fingers just by rubbing my fingers along. As I say, some people do use a mangle. This one's fairly clean, but I'll just cut it. There. Attach it on. So again, same as before, you fold it over, bend it back on itself. And then carry on with the weave. So I tend to sort of rotate the chair around each time to the corner I'm working on. And there's a thin bit in there, so I'm going to carry on letting that weave in. It'll just secure it all. Again, the twist, trying to keep it pulled out the whole time. When you've done the whole of the seat, you can go around sort of tidying bits up. Just having a general trim up. So again, that's going over the back. Sometimes the air travels down, and it's worth, as you go along, squeezing them a bit more to get the air out. And that's going to come back up there. And I carry on. I'm going to add a rush to this bit as soon as I'm round that corner. So again, doing a twist. Now on the corners, I try and sort of push them down and in so that they sit at a nice little angle. So loose a bit of rush there, let's get that down. So on, so I'm going to add a rush to that one now and carry on going around, and slowly I'll fill in the whole of this centre section. If I tilt the chair, you can see it's coming along. I'm a few hours in now with the seat, and it seems to be coming along all right. I could probably get some of this a bit flatter, but overall I'm fairly happy. This will go like a light straw colour as it dries out. It does take quite a long time. These are all my little knots just here. On the underside at the moment it looks quite messy, but I will be tucking in all these little sort of odd bits. So I'm trying to keep these bits as even as I can, and sort of pushing them in a bit to line them all up. So it's not going too badly. I'm a bit rough in places. There you are. That's the beauty of handmade at times. Obviously, if you get really good at this, you get everything really lovely and flat and perfect. Finally, at last, a seat is completed, and quite pleased all in all with the way it's worked out. Very good for sharpening claws, isn't it, Tom? Yes. Not what you should do, sir. All right, Tom? You going to say bye-bye to everyone? Yeah. Well, bye-bye, and thanks so much for watching. I think Tom's going to have a little snooze now. It's nice and bright.